More threats made in Springfield today. At least 4 stores were forced to evacuate after their threats were made this afternoon. Now, authorities are now working to make sure the community is safe. Jenna Lee Bork is live from one of those stores right now. So, Jenna Lee, what exactly can you tell us?
Yeah, Elise, we were able to confirm with Springfield PD that 2 Walmart locations and 2 Krogers were evacuated earlier today due to bomb threats. Police found those threats to be unfounded. We are still working to find out what time the threats came in and how long the stores were empty before the police deemed it safe for customers to re-enter. These threats add to at least 33 others the city has seen in the last week. We spoke to one lifelong resident about what he saw and how scary things have been.
When I came in, they were all out front, and people were trying to go in, and I never got out of my car, and they said that there was a lockdown from a bomb threat again. I've got grandchildren going to school here, and I am concerned about it, because you don't know.
Later tonight at 10 and 11, hear how Clark County Mental Health Services are preparing for the lasting effects Springfield residents may feel from all this. Back to you in studio.
We, of course, have been keeping you up to date on everything going on in Springfield and the national impacts it's having on air and online. And, of course, you can find all our coverage right now at Dayton247now.com. And we're always bringing you updates on our social media pages as well. So be sure to like and follow us at Dayton247now on all platforms. We'll keep you in the loop as soon as we learn more. Tonight, local farmers are suffering and losing money because of the drought right now. In fact, 28 counties in our state are in extreme drought conditions, and Montgomery County is inching closer. Eli Burgett had the chance to speak with some local farmers today. So, Eli, what exactly did they tell you?
Well, different farmers have been affected in different ways. Some have yielded relatively low amounts of hay for the fall and winter seasons, and some have had to cut their apple picking seasons short for this year. And it's all because there just isn't any rain falling from the sky. The USDA Farm Service Agency has declared disasters in 28 Ohio counties due to extreme drought conditions, and Montgomery County is approaching that point. For Monen's Fruit Farm in Dayton, the current drought conditions forced them to cut apple picking season much shorter than usual, which took out a large chunk of their usual profits for the fall season.
We had a good season up till about the last month or so, and then it just stopped raining. And so it's only hurt us on the back end of things.
Coming up at 6:30 on Fox 45, what the federal government is doing to help these Ohio farmers who are struggling. Back to you.
And we are, beautiful live look right now from our Eco Plumber Sky Cam. Let's send it out to Chief Meteorologist Natalie Walters.
Yeah, feeling nice out here. It is another warm day, though. Temperature is still well above normal for this time of the year, and it's also another dry day across the Miami Valley as well. But currently, we're hanging out in the upper 80s, 88 in Dayton, 88 Troy right now. So 80s across the board, pretty close to 90 degrees. One thing you may notice as you step outside is a little bit more humidity. It's not terribly humid by any means, but dew points back up into the 60s for some spots. So you do start to feel just a little bit more of that stickiness in the air compared to where we've been over these past several days. So just something you'll notice as you step outside. As far as the rest of the evening goes, it is going to stay pretty mild. We'll drop into the 60s overnight with a mostly clear sky, but I'll take a look at the rest of the week coming up here in just a bit.
The body found in the Great Miami River in Moraine back in late May has now been identified as 57-year-old Jose Manuel Tapia de Leon. Now, this happened near the 5,000 block of East River Road. The Montgomery County coroner says his cause of death was drowning and manner of death is accidental. 5 Rivers Metro Parks is still investigating. Tonight, the GOP-led Ohio ballot board has finalized the language you'll see on the ballot regarding State Issue 1. That's all about redistricting. It would lead to a panel of citizens, not lawmakers, drawing district maps. The big issue, though, at the center of this, gerrymandering. Tom Bosco explains why supporters say the new wording is misleading.
Here's what supporters say Issue 1 is supposed to do: create a new redistricting commission, bar elected officials from sitting on that commission, and redraw maps for Ohio lawmakers in a way supporters say would end gerrymandering. But the Ohio Ballot Board changed the language that voters will see at the ballot box to say the commission is required to gerrymander the boundaries. The Ohio Supreme Court approved that language. Wednesday morning, the ballot board finalized what voters will see.
You guys are personally insulting the voters of Ohio.
This was done, and it was created for the main purpose of hoodwinking the voters.
What you saw was a one-party-controlled board try to sway the outcome of an election. That's what they're trying to do.
Issue 1 opponents say by putting redistricting in the hands of unelected citizens takes away Ohioans' accountability. But supporters say more than 700,000 Ohioans signed petitions to end gerrymandering and know what the amendment will really do.
Ohioans are going to see right through it. They're smart. They understand what this issue is about.
That was Tom Bosco reporting. Meanwhile, Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose confirming his election office was one of at least 15 across the nation that got a suspicious package from an unknown source. They're believed to have a powdery substance that investigators in other states have found to be non-hazardous. Law enforcement partners were able to intercept that package, though, before it actually reached his office. Now, this is prompting several security threat investigations involving law enforcement, FBI agents and USPS. LaRose is saying in part, quote, tonight, the security of our employees and all election officials across Ohio is a top concern as we enter a critical period in the election cycle. We need to lower the temperature of our political discourse and send a clear bipartisan message that we resolve our elections in this country with ballots, not bullets. And as the general election approaches, here are some important dates to keep in mind. Military and overseas absentee voting begins this Friday, September 20th. The deadline to register to vote for the November election is October 7th. You can also register in person at the boards of elections until 9 p.m. or online until 11:59 p.m. Absentee and early-in voting actually begins on the day following October 8th. Early in-person voting includes the 2 Saturdays and Sundays before Election Day, and Election Day, of course, is November 5th. Polls open at 6:30 in the morning and close at 7:30 that night. Well, today marks 2 years since Richmond police officer Sierra Burton passed away. The Richmond Police Department marking the somber anniversary with this post you see here behind me on Facebook. Now, it reads in part, quote, to honor Sierra is not just to remember her, but to live in a way that is worthy of the sacrifice she made. Let us strive to be kinder, braver, and more united, just as she showed us. The canine officer was shot in the line of duty back in August 22nd, I should say. August of 2022, during a traffic stop. She was flown by Care Flight here to Miami Valley Hospital, where she fought for her life for weeks, but ultimately passed away on this day back in 2022. A one-day program focusing on mental health challenges in Greene County today. Lethal Means Safety provides crucial resources to veterans, first responders, and their families, and brings the community together. It's also a call to action for mental health awareness and suicide prevention.
Get loud about this. Mental health is not something to be talked about anymore in hushed, quiet tones. We need to get loud about this, and we need to keep talking about that in spaces like this with our neighbors, with our friends, with our family members, to make sure that people know that, to ask, are you okay? And to have that honest conversation around mental health and suicide prevention.
He goes on to say that this brings people under one roof to be vulnerable with one another and have those tough conversations. If you need help, it is out there for you. All you have to do, call or text 988 24/7. That's the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They'll get you in touch with resources. And if you're a veteran or first responder, you can also reach out to veterans organization, nonprofit, NAMI Ohio, or a mental health professional. Today, of course, was a bit of a roller coaster ride on Wall Street. Major averages ending the day slightly lower after the Federal Reserve announced a half-point cut to the federal funds rate, which impacts interest rates throughout the economy. Altra Al-Nashar has more on the impact.
The U.S. economy is in a good place, and our decision today is designed to keep it there.
The once red-hot labor market is softening, though the unemployment rate remains historically low at 4.2%, so the Fed is pivoting its attention to maintain both maximum employment and stable prices. Unlike previous, more aggressive cycles of rate cuts during the Great Recession and pandemic, this series of cuts is expected to be slow and steady. The first place Americans will likely feel this cut is with mortgage rates, which are tightly linked to the Fed's monetary policy. They've been falling as lenders prepared for Wednesday's cut. The average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage just hit a 2-year low of 6.15%, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. Now, one downside of rates coming down is high-yield savings accounts will generate smaller returns.
The important part of the announcement today is certainly what they did to rates today, but also how they talk about their intentions going forward.
In Washington, I'm Atrel Nashar.
Deciphering what's real and what's not. The state that's now going after deep fakes and the impact AI is having on the election. And more explosions targeting Hezbollah, the impact the U.S. says these attacks could have on peace talks in the Middle East.
And believe it or not, we have some rain in the forecast. I'll let you know when our best chance is. That's coming up. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The Triple Option Podcast, presented by
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
One of the best videos of last night's partial lunar eclipse comes from Michigan, where a viewer clearly captured the Earth's shadow on the moon. The colors surrounding the moon in Alabama are from cloud iridescence, which is the refracting of light by ice crystals high in the sky. And several inches of snow fell at the Snowbird Resort in Utah and Mammoth Lakes in California's Sierra Nevada mountains.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
California is now the first state to ban political deepfakes ahead of the November election. As Matt Galka explains, extreme differences in politics, along with the changing digital landscape, make it harder to spot what's real, what's fake, and really what's violating free speech.
I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color.
Ex-owner Elon Musk shared this video to his hundreds of millions of followers back in July. A doctored deepfake video where an artificial intelligence version of Kamala Harris's voice rattles off multiple disparaging things that she didn't actually say.
Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total incompetence.
California Governor Gavin Newsom vowed to respond and did this week, signing 3 bills into law banning political deepfakes, regulating how they're labeled, and mandating social media companies remove a deepfake if they receive a complaint. Free speech advocates say the laws leave the door open to misinterpretations and First Amendment violations.
The drafting of this legislation is usually pretty vague. It permits deepfakes that support a candidate or that the candidate wants to run, but if someone wants to poke fun at a candidate, it's not clear that the bill would allow that.
Deep fakes are getting easier to make and seemingly more realistic by the day. How do I know that?
I know that because that's not really me. Well, it's a picture of me that I put into deepfake software and used an audio clip of my voice to have that animate and say something I didn't really say. And it only took me about 20 minutes to make.
The California bills could provide a pathway for more around the country on the tricky subject of AI that Congress has yet to get a handle on. Experts agree it's an issue likely bound for the Supreme Court. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
Another beautiful but warm day out there. Feeling a little less like fall, more like summer still.
Yeah, very summer-like. Good news is we have some very fall-like weather in the forecast eventually. We got to wait a while. We have some more summer-like temps to get through first. High pressure is now off to our northeast, and we have overall warm air in place. It's going to be above normal for the rest of this week, this weekend. But by next week, we have some rain chances returning to the Miami Valley. It's starting to look a little bit more promising for some beneficial rainfall. So heading through time, we'll watch an approaching storm system. Now, this will even begin to approach the region as early as Friday evening, which will bring some clouds into the region, even a small chance for a shower Friday night into our early Saturday. But as we continue into this weekend, rain chances increase. This is Sunday night into early Monday, potentially scattered showers, few thunderstorms continuing even into our Tuesday before some cooler air starts to slide in.
Kentucky State Police say a body has been found near the site of that I-75 mass shooting. That search for that suspect, Joseph Couch, has been ongoing since September 7th. Police say 5 people were hurt when Couch opened fire, shooting 12 vehicles on the busy interstate. Detectives are now working to identify the body. We, of course, will keep you updated as soon as we learn more. A second attack of hundreds of exploding devices across Lebanon today. Just yesterday, at least 12 people were killed, including 2 kids, after pagers belonging to the militant group Hezbollah exploded. Nearly 3,000 people were hurt. Today, it's knockoff walkie-talkies, killing at least 20 people and hurting more than 450 people. We're told today's explosions happened at the site of a funeral in Beirut for people killed by those exploding pagers yesterday.
Almost 2/3 of the patients required admission to the hospitals. So indeed, it was, I think it put a lot of strain on the hospitals last night. The only way I could, characterize it is that indeed it was a sort of a mass aggression, and it's clearly an escalation.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken says these surprise attacks threaten to derail U.S.-led ceasefire negotiations. Israeli officials have not commented on the incident. Hezbollah, though, has vowed to retaliate. Back in our area now, Sinclair Community College holding its annual The Longest Table event. It's a free public event giving participants the opportunity to have a meal and meet people from other backgrounds.
We have people come, get a meal, sit down across from someone, hopefully that they do not know, and just have a conversation. We have these great conversation starters. We have different prompts. We really want people to engage and find out that our differences, our strength, and those things that are similar about us there are a lot of things that are very similar.
Now, this has been happening now for about 6 years, and it brings about 250 people out every single year.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
The annual Waco fly-in, I know what I'm saying, I swear, is back in Troy this weekend. Tej Joshi shares how you can see these vintage aircraft and even take a ride.
This weekend, there is a multi-day event celebrating the history of aviation right here in the Miami Valley. It is a Waco fly-in, and if you see this field right behind me this weekend, this will be converted into a beautiful event that's very interactive for the kids, for families, and for everybody. There's opportunities to see a historic aircraft. There's also opportunities to actually take a ride yourself on a helicopter on Sunday, and even some Waco planes earlier in the weekend. There's going to be food trucks here, a special hot dog event on Sunday. Overall, a great community event right here in the Miami Valley this weekend. You can go to the museum's website to learn more about the event itself and exactly what this is going to look like this weekend. Should be a great time for all aviation lovers. My friends, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Well, weekend's going to be a warm one. We're also tracking those rain chances eventually, but until then, it's going to be very warm and dry. So Thursday night lights tomorrow as Ansonia takes on Tri-Village. It is going to be very warm, 80s. Now, sun has been setting earlier, so it will start to feel a little bit better a little bit earlier, closer to around kickoff, but we'll see temperatures still in the 70s, which will be still a very warm evening. Not quite football weather, but it won't be a rained out game. Now, heading into the weekend, we do have a small chance for showers, mainly looking into our Sunday time frame. Highs will be in the upper 80s, close to 90 degrees then. And then we'll also see those rain chances increase. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, a chance for some showers. First day of fall is on Sunday, and then notice those temperatures back into the upper 70s by next Wednesday. So
first day of fall, 90 degrees.
Right.
Yeah. Makes total sense.
Of course. It's looking a little bit more promising for those rain chances by late next week, which is good news, or early next week, I should say. So stay tuned for details on that because we need it
desperately.
Yeah, we do.
All right, we'll see you over on Fox coming up here in just a moment. Good night.
Code Red weather alerts only on Dayton.